Welcome to the world of group home riches, where you can achieve financial freedom while making a positive impact on society. Are you tired of working long hours for someone else? Do you dream of being your own boss and creating a better future for yourself and others? Look no further. With Group Home Riches, you can invest in real estate and provide a valuable service by offering safe and comfortable homes for individuals in need.
The number one investment in real estate.
And start building a better future for yourself and those around you. Let's make a difference together with Group Home Riches.
I tend to get a little hyper-focused on things, but, again, finding the right mentors, the right resources like you guys, I would not have been able to open 6 homes, probably even 1, if I hadn't come across Group Home Riches. So really finding the right resources and mentors and groups is so important.
100%. So another kind of key to you being able to scale so quickly, we totally agree with this, is outsourcing. So it's not like Lindsay is over here managing 70 properties on her own, not sleeping, railing through pots of coffee every single day, which she might, but there's no humanly way possible for one person to do all this, get the capital, do the management, acquire the properties and everything like that. So let's dive into that a little bit and let's kind of talk about one of your keys to success, which is outsourcing.
Yeah, I think I saw my business and portfolio scale as exponentially when I finally stopped. I'm scrappy. I grew up in a family that we didn't have a lot. I always bought everything on sale. And like I said, I started with smaller price homes. And so for me to turn around and say, I'm going to spend money on somebody else to do something that's a task that I could do, maybe I sleeping a whole lot less, or, my marriage is getting neglected a little bit, but I can do it. And finally stopping and saying, is it worth my time when I can pay somebody else $9 an hour or however much to do this task when I can be doing something much more impactful to my business? And you hear that a lot, but I think until you finally sit down and take that leap of faith that it's worth investing in yourself in that sense. So I finally hired my own personal full-time assistant a year and a half ago. I had one that I split with a business partner and helped work on the business for about 3 years now, but it wasn't until I had both of them on board that I really saw that hockey stick. And I think what people don't realize is if you hire the right virtual assistant that's competent, literally they can run your business in a beautiful way. And also I often have them helping me with personal things, booking travel, helping buy products around the house that I need monthly, because anytime that I can free up and be working strategically on my business is huge. And so I think I shared a little bit with you. I started by trying to go really cheap through a company based in India, and I could only speak to them on Skype. And that just took up more time than not. I went through a third party, found a really rock solid VA that way, but wanted to pivot from being tied in, and then went the Fiverr route and kind of had these pain points. And it's definitely a learning just curve, like anything, like with starting group homes, kind of finding where your niche is to source from and finding that right person. But my VAs, they now are they're the first person that all of my house managers go to, so that I am not dealing with anything unless it's a complete fire drill. They also do the accounting, maintenance, insurance, gathering stuff for taxes. So it's lately in ways I've almost had to find things to spend my time doing because everything is running so smoothly, having that system in place.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I actually never really got my VAs very involved in the group homes. I mean, yes, from an accounting standpoint, yes, from Home Depot runs and stuff like that. Tell everybody what else you use your VAs for in the group homes on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. So they're pulling my market target list. So last week it's oh, this house, I could maybe fill it up a little bit more with this or that. Help find some where we can maybe source independent elderly or not just the sober living. So she went and pulled that target list and is starting to make those calls. With every connection I make, I forward that information onto them and I say, hey, put this into the Kansas City flow desk. And so we're building a CRM. And then I'll say, hey, shoot out an email this week about we have this many beds, or we're running, fall in love with sobriety February and cutting our entrance fees in half. And so they're going and making that marketing. I just come up with the idea and they go make the flyer in Canva and send it out.
Awesome.
Yeah. They're managing that database for me. They are making cold calls and trying to figure out who is the case manager, getting their specific phone number, their contact, connecting with them, telling them about our program and letting them know who I am. So they're constantly doing the marketing. To your point, Home Depot runs our house managers. Since I have 6, it's a lot, right? And then you sometimes have residents calling you. So really what I had to do is just say, if you need anything, you reach out to Kiana. If it's an emergency, she'll let me know. But she's handling the invoices. Whenever intake paperwork comes in through DocuSign, they automatically put it into QuickBooks and start generating those invoices. So I'm not dealing with any of that. They're inputting, I have spreadsheets of who every resident is, their phone number, their contact info, if anybody's sponsoring them, how they're paying their payment plan. They put all of that in. They update the paperwork whenever we figure out, okay, we need to have a new procedure because people want to bring pets. So what does that look like? What liability do we need to do? And they add that to the, I just say, hey, research this and add it to the intake paperwork that people sign. They're finding insurance policies for me and getting that set up. And I just look and approve or say, no, can you, get a third bid or not? So really everything besides we had a relapse or drug court is needing to talk to you. It's all goes, they're my first line of defense so that my phone isn't blowing up 24/7.
Yep. I love it. Guys, everybody also needs to remember Lindsay she's got a private equity background, right? And so we can't discount this at all. Lindsay, can you talk to everybody about what private equity does and like what you learn from those guys, how they come in there and they systematize the living, what out of these businesses, and just maybe how that kind of helped you do what you're talking about doing? Because frankly, I mean, you've systematized your business way more than I ever did.
Well, it's definitely been trial and error. And I will say, we have a virtual assistant who's our accountant here based in the US, and she loves us, but also wants to strangle us sometimes because we are building the systems as the plane flies. So my advice to people getting started is put them in place before. It'll make your life and everybody else's a little bit easier. But I stop and think anything that doesn't need my personal insight, that's only in my head, how can I have somebody else do it? Right. And that's the ultimate wealth to me, is that everything else is put out there and I only have to really get in when it's interesting, fun, or I want to. And so having the right people in place. And I think when you think about it, there's 2 main things. So first, your operations. So how can you have people doing the daily nitty gritty? If you have to spend time opening up more than an hour and going through emails, you need to find a way to outsource a lot of that. So emails aren't coming to your inbox because you can chew up so much time doing admin. And again, not being strategic, marketing, looking at your numbers, thinking how to grow the business. And second, with finances. So I would definitely recommend just digging in. How can you automate those, making sure your money's collected and your money's paid out and the systems are set up? So even if it's your VA setting up the automatic payments for your electric and your water and all of that, but just who can sometimes put the systems into place for you and keep them running. But I would say break it down. So what are your operations that you need to look at for your house that needs to be systematized? And then your inflow and outflow of money and what systems can you put in place there? And then as you start to build the houses and the things, then you have your communication. So as you have your team, how does that communication system look? So I think kind of just building it from the ground up is the best way. And really just, it may seem painful to create a spreadsheet and spend the time in the day or the weekend to organize it. But once you have that uptake, it is worth all the time in the world that you spent setting it up. So everything should have a spreadsheet at the very least of standard protocols is, my biggest recommendation. We live and die by spreadsheets.
Don't miss out. Your journey to success begins now. Are you ready to dive into the world of group home riches? Join our exclusive school group and connect with like-minded individuals who are just starting out.